Hey, it's Travis with Hoss Tools, and today we're in the Hoss Junior Garden over here on the smaller homestead. And this time of year we're usually transitioning from our spring crops into our fall crops, pulling up some of the spring stuff and getting ready to plant the fall stuff. And one of the things we like to plant in the fall is, of course, pumpkins. The ideal pumpkin planting time for this area, based on what all the commercial growers do, is right around July 4th, which July 4th was this past weekend, so we're trying to hit it just right. This area you see behind me here was where we had some zipper cream peas planted this spring, and needless to say, that was a failure. We got a good stand of peas. They came up well. They were just loaded with peas, but we couldn't keep the bugs off of them. We sprayed them with organic insecticides every other day, and they just got stung up so bad we had to pull them up, just count it as a loss. You couldn't even salvage them. So what we did was we pulled those up and put them on the compost pile, and then we took our double wheel hoe with the sweeps, which works really good for going in and cleaning up after a crop. It can get in there and uproot those big weeds and kind of clean out everything. And so we did that to get a little shallow cultivation and clean out all those few weeds we got in there. Then what we did was we took two posts and a string ran between each one, and we used our plows to make a furrow where we want to lay our drip irrigation. So we use the string so we make sure we get straight rows, and these two rows here we planted on about 5-foot spacing for our 2 rows of pumpkins. So we use those plows and we got our furrow dug nice and straight lines. After we laid the furrows with the plows, we came in with some compost, some really good compost, and we just lightly dressed the bottom of those trenches so we could give those plants some good nutrients to start off with. After we added the compost, then we came in with our drip tape layer prototype and put our drip tape down for these 2 rows and put all the fittings on those and check, make sure they were working correctly. Drip tape's really important with pumpkins down here. We get a lot of problems with downy mildew here because of the humidity and the moisture in the air and the heat, and the less moisture you have on those leaves, the less problems you're going to have with downy mildew. So drip irrigation really helps with that. Now the pumpkins we're going to be planting today, the first one is actually a pumpkin and butternut squash hybrid. We got some of these seeds when we were at the Mother Earth News Fair in Asheville from a group called Commonwealth Seed Growers. They're out of Virginia, and they do a really good job of coming up with these resistant varieties that are really productive. And they crossed a Seminole pumpkin, which is an heirloom variety that's known to be downy mildew resistant, with a butternut squash. So they're aiming for crossing the downy mildew resistance of the pumpkin versus the taste of the squash, of the butternut squash, and getting a really good combination there. So we're going to try some of those. And then we have these Chinese tropical pumpkins, which look almost like a fairy tale pumpkin. But anyway, they're supposed to be really good eating pumpkins, and they're downy mildew resistant as well. So we're going to try those. So that first row here, we're going to have the Seminole and butternut cross at the beginning, and towards the end we'll plant these Chinese tropical pumpkins. And then on this second row here, we're going to plant these orange bulldog pumpkins. And this was a variety that was developed by the University of Georgia. They took some tissue from plants down in Brazil and bred it, and came up with a pumpkin that was downy mildew resistant and grows really well down here in the south. We grew them last year at the Sunbelt Expo and had really good success. It's a smaller pumpkin, but it's really pretty. It's really good to eat, so we're going to grow some of those as well. So we're not going to plant these with a seeder. We're just planting 2 rows, and we're going to plant them a foot apart because that's how far apart our emitters are on our drip tape. So we're just going to plant these seeds a foot apart, and then probably just take a rake and cover up the seeds and pack them in. All right, guys, so there you have it. We got our pumpkins planted. We used our rake just to pack the soil down a little bit over those pumpkins that we covered. If you haven't tried pumpkins, I definitely encourage you to do so. I also encourage you to get out there and do some research. Find you some of these resistant varieties. You know, there's plenty of Downy Mildew resistant varieties out there you can take a look at. I'll make sure to put links for these that we're planting down in the description box below so you can check those out. Have a great day.